Good morning. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. It's a spectacular morning here in Toronto, even though it is deep freeze. The deep freeze is on, but I'm so grateful for the sunshine. The sunshine is everything for me. And so I am so pleased. And today I'm going to be talking about quite a topic, which, I feel that this is an important year because this is the year. Hi, Nana. Nice to see you. This is the year of number 3. And as such, I'm just going to do a little bit of sharing. And as you come on, hello, Julia, Nana, nice to see you guys coming on. I'm just doing a little bit of sharing to my group, Courageous Conversations, which I would love you to join. It's a closed support group, and this is a place where you can get some individual or specific time with me, but also with the group and putting out your information. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Andrew. Nice to see everybody. Nice to see everybody. I'm just doing a bit of sharing. If you think this is a topic worth sharing, please do, because I really feel that, people are doing conflict in the wrong way. And conflict is not easy. Conflict is extremely scary for most of us. Not all of us, but for a lot of us. This is the kind of thing that causes people to be really traumatized. It can be very traumatic. Hi, Irma. Nice to see you. Thank you for everyone who's joining us. Please share this widely because I feel like there is going to be some good knowledge. And thank you, Nana, for acknowledging Trumpet Girl. I do love the Amaryllis magic, although I have to say they don't last a lot. I want them to last as long as my orchids. My orchids last a lot, like a long time. But also I would like to have everyone understand that conflict is a necessary part of the journey of growing, expanding, becoming more resilient. And so I'd like to talk to people about how to do it and to do it kind of well. Let's see where I'm going to put this. I'm just sharing this on a few groups, and so people can come on the journey with us. And I feel like, the truth of the matter is that people get a little afraid of even talking about. It's like, don't talk about religion, don't talk about money, don't talk about conflict. We're just fine just the way we are, and we'll just be in denial, and we will not even, address the matter until we have a problem. But then when we have a problem, we do it in not wrong, but dysfunctional ways or reactive ways, or we're doing it from the hurt child ways, and then it becomes an extremely dysfunctional, toxic way to navigate something that every relationship will come to if it's intimate. By the way, every relationship will come to conflict if it's intimate. And even when it's not intimate, but most intimate friendships, marriages, just even dating, if you become more intimate, more convivial, more familiar, this is where the conflict will arise. And you have to analyze, how do you do conflict? Are you an amputator? Are you someone who just, as soon as there's conflict, is like, they disappointed me, they treated me badly, they're out. And I admit that, it is, if you've come from any kind of trauma as a kid, the truth of the matter is that you will probably want to have that. You do have that as an instinct. I'm not having anybody in my life that doesn't treat me exactly how I want to be treated. Boom, they're out of my life. And then there's the ghosting. Ghosting meaning, I don't call, I don't answer your calls, I act like you don't exist. Very painful, by the way. Just a very, it's like walking out and never letting them know when you're coming back, and frankly, just giving them a good punishment. Here's 2 weeks of nothing, freezing you out, poison. It's not a healthy way to handle it. I gotta tell you, it's one of the most painful things, and that's why people do it, because they're looking to impart pain upon the person they're feeling angry or hurt with. Most of the anger is because you feel hurt and you feel unsafe and you feel like, so that's why you want to amputate, or you want to experience, massive amounts of safety. And I get it. I really do. And I have to tell you, because of the background I come from, I have to tell you that for me, instinctively, without training, I would probably do that, amputation piece. Hi, Nicole. Nice to see you. That amputation piece, or do that type of ghosting thing, because it's a sort of a very immature way to handle conflict. It's a very immature. It's also a very survivalist way to handle conflict, and it's also a very unevolved way to handle conflict. The other thing that I notice people do is that instead of conflict in a healthy way, there is sort of passive aggressiveness or jabs or unhealthy mocking, unhealthy teasing, these kinds of things. And these are all really unhealthy. These are all really damaging. And if you are the amputator, just so you know, and you're basically saying, your world will get very small. Your world will get very, very small. Hi, Andrew. Nice to see you. Your world will get very, very small. And by the time you are old, you're going to be living on a small little island with just you, if you can't navigate conflict in a healthy way. So I want to have you understand that you can have intimate relationships. My nose is so itchy this morning. Sometimes I think, little angelic forces are around just itching my nose, but I don't want to itch my nose this entire broadcast. But my God, I need to itch my nose. So the essential aspect is that if you don't learn to navigate conflict, disagreements in a healthy way, what will occur, hi Lynn, nice to have you join us, what will occur will be a very small world, because you've amputated everybody, or you've put them away with passive aggressive mocking, or you've ghosted them and you no longer talk to them, or the fight is ugly, below the belting. And that's another huge mistake people make, is they say words that they can't take back, that causes them to forevermore, there's like a crack in the friendship. Even if the friendship comes back, the undisciplined speech is so painful and hurtful. It's a lot of below the belting. You've obviously become close with this person, so you know their tender points, and you know their tender moments, and you know their insecurities. So it is those very people that you're going to wound the most, that you're going to harm the most. I have tears thinking about that, with your words. And you have to be very gentle with your words if you're going to be in a relationship with someone who has given you and has bestowed upon you the trust of telling you their deep, intimate self. And so if you're going to use that against them in a conflict, again, it is the unhealthy, hi Susan, nice to see you. It is the unhealthy, damaging way into the future. You will not, that person, the intimacy that you guys forged together, the closeness that you forged together after that fight, because there was undisciplined speech and using below the belt tactics to harm or to wound the other person, that relationship will not be the same afterwards. I will just want to tell you that. It will not be the same afterwards. So your conflict cannot involve that kind of below the belting if you want to keep the friendship intact. Okay? That's a first rule of engagement. Do not engage in below the belt, using their weaknesses against them type of fighting. That is not healthy. Just because you're hurt and just because you're angry, you still are responsible to how you use your words and your anger and your hurt. Just because you're hurt doesn't mean you need to behave like a child that's hurt, who has no discipline of speech. You're an adult, and you get to be an adult when you communicate about your hurts and about your pain and about your anger. And most anger, by the way, is a mask for hurt. Okay. But people don't know that. I really witness a tremendous amount of, and I myself, when I'm in a conflict, I have to check myself. I come from a family that below the belting is just a normal state of affairs. So I have to check myself to not go below the belt. And if you do, you have to own it right away. You have to say, even though they've harmed you, you kind of have to own, you have to own your speech, and you have to own your wrongdoing. And that is the road to healing. And that is, yes, Andrew, speak impeccably, even when you're angry and you go, oh, you immediately, John Gottman, who is the father of, I quote him immensely in my second book, Connecting, which is relationship building, my relationship building book. He talks about, if you make a mistake, if you F up, fix it quickly with an apology, with an acknowledgement, and a true apology. And I posted about this. A true apology is the apology of, I am sorry, not that you think I hurt you. I am sorry that I said this and that I hurt you with those words. Specifically owning that's another tip. You apologize, not I'm sorry for how you feel. I'm sorry for my actions. I'm sorry for the mistake that I made, that I own, that I take responsibility for. And you teach people how to treat you by wanting people to have that in the way we engage in the conflict. I made the mistake, or you made, I want people to come to a conflict with some self-analysis. I curate this, I broker this, I mediate this in my office all the time. And my gosh, it's hard for people to let down their ego and to own the mistake, the F up, the hurt that they levied. Because instead of owning it, they're like, well, I did this because this and this and this is what happened. So there's mitigating circumstances. What are we, lawyers here? No, in the human experience, in the human experience, even if there is a mitigating circumstance, like you were tired or whatever it may be, or your boss treated you badly, or, or you were in a traffic jam all day, or, I was drunk. That was another one. That was a good excuse. Oh, the person says, well, I was drunk, so that's why I cheated on. Whoa! I'm like, that is not a reason. You got to go, I'm sorry that I was irresponsible with the intake of of the alcohol, and that led to actions that are just terrible. And I'm sorry about that. People are always saying, people are not always. I observe people saying, well, I did that because you're this and this and this. You do that. You don't pick up after yourself. So of course I'm going to throw your stuff out or whatever it may be. No, be responsible for what you do. Own your stuff and speak about what is happening here. I feel hurt. I feel angry that you treated me this way. And I don't appreciate being talked to in this way. I feel, and in intimate friendships, it can be, what you said really felt extremely wounding to me. And I would really appreciate that you not speak like that to me again. And if the person is a close friend, I'm hoping that they'll go, listen, I'm really sorry that what I said, hurt you. And I'm sorry. And if it's something that was really shitty, it's like, well, I'm sorry I said that. But maybe they thought, well, I didn't know that it was going to hurt you. So I just, these kinds of things, it's drop the mask of protectionism and defensiveness and own the mask. Hi, Linda. Nice to have you join us. And own the mask, not the mask, own the true self of vulnerability and hurt. People say, well, I can't be vulnerable. They're going to eat me alive. I'm like, listen, no one can eat you alive. You're in charge of what happens to you. Hi, Joanne. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming and watching. You get to, nobody can eat you alive. You need to resolve to work on yourself so that you're unmanipulatable, that you're not eaten alive, that you're not anybody's, patsy, so to speak. Hi, Doug. That you are someone who is vulnerable, who can have intimate relationships, who can have depth of relational experiencing with people. And that involves knowing how to navigate conflict. That involves knowing how to maneuver through the conflict experience. And for my money, or for my, what I think is important, that is one of the most important things. And I have to own that because I have traumas around conflict myself from my own family of origin, and conflict scares the shit out of me, to be honest with you. I must be very honest with you. I can't talk about this and not own my shit. I'm afraid of conflict, absolutely. However, the truth of the matter is that learning how to operate through conflict in a way that is with rules of engagement, with owning your mistakes, with speaking your truth from a vulnerable place, is the recipe for having intimate relational experiences, good friendships, good marriage, good business partnerships. But before the friendship gets too deep, you want to start to chip away at the rules of engagement and saying, so let's talk about how, before the conflict, my first book, I have a chapter in my first book, Find Yourself Culture, which is an audiobook right now, by the way, in case you want to drive and listen to my book. And it's just I'm speaking through it. So please check it out. It's both on Audible and iTunes. Sorry for that little commercial, but I have to say it, it's out there. My first book, I have a chapter in there that really dissects where you're putting people. So instead of amputation, you have other options. One of the options, here's a tip, you don't amputate, you downgrade. So if they're very, 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 very close people, your A people, your life and death people, maybe you downgrade them to B people, or even C people. Your C is our acquaintances, B is our close people, close-ish, A is our, life and death people, call them to go to the hospital or whatever. So you don't have to amputate everybody. You can just downgrade them. You can make them less intimate. And that is I believe people should take an inventory of all the people in their life and make sure that you don't have A expectations of someone who actually can be a C person. That's okay. You can have them be a C person, but they were an A person, but they failed you in some way, or you don't have to amputate them. You can tell them what happened, but then you still have them in your life, but you don't have the high expectations. The road to hell is expectations in relationships. And make sure that you have the correct amount of expectations of the people in your life, and that you're not having or too much of an expectation of someone who, frankly isn't worth that particular level of expectation. That's another tip. Put people where they're supposed to be. And the other thing in my second book, Connecting, the blue book, I talk about the actual ways to fight, constructive ways to fight, initiate and reflect. You're not just thinking about the answer when they're speaking at you. You're like, okay, let me be present and listen to this person. Very difficult, by the way. But it is a discipline. It's an absolute discipline to hear someone and go, so what I hear you saying is that you think that I, belittled you when I was speaking to you about that thing. And they're like, and I'm like, is that right? Yes. Is there more? So allowing the person to feel heard is the road to healing. But there has to be reciprocity, that both people are willing to hear themselves. You might not agree. You may not agree on your perspective, because what you can count on is that you have very different perspectives on things. Your movie is different from their movie. To expect them to have the same movie as you, not a very realistic expectation. Most people will have very different views of a situation. And yeah, Yudushka says expectations set us up for disappointment. Yeah, but I think you have to have the correct amount of expectation for that human being. No expectation is not realistic, but expectation that is commensurate with what it is they're bringing to the table in terms of evidence base, meaning they show up on time, they will, they can be A people because they're people that have shown themselves to be willing to give you the level of whatever it is, friendship at that particular level of expectation. But if they keep showing you that no, they're always whatever, they're always disappointing you, you need to I don't believe you need to amputate, just downgrade them. And of course, I'm not talking about abuse or theft or addiction. Those people you do have to amputate those people. So that's important. So I hope people listen to this video intently, take notes, because I've given you some really, really amazing tips for this. And a couple of things I want to say as I'm going to start to sign off is, number one, share the video, because people, you know, in this year of the pig, lots of abundance, and in this number 3 year, 2019, lots of communication, lots of collaboration and creativity. So we're going to be dealing with people more. And guess what that means? Guess what that means? That means we're going to have more conflict. So play this video to other people and join my group, Courageous Conversations, because it's a support place and it's a closed group and it's a nice, solid place. Number 2, like my page, Courageous Conversations. And also audiobook. Don't forget my audiobook, my new audiobook, Find Your Self Culture, is now in audiobook format. I'm going to be coming at you guys live on Wednesdays. I hope you join me on Wednesdays. It's become too much to do it 3 times a week. I have to be compassionate with myself. So Wednesdays I'll be live. I have tons of replays that I'm going to proliferate. And I hope that's okay. Come to me, and join me on the journey. And I would love to give away an audiobook today. So I'll look at all the likes and I'll look at the comments, and I will pick out of the hat, okay, and then let you know, okay, and then post it. Okay, it's kind of a funny thing and an emotion, sort of a funny little game, but I'd love people to have my audiobook because I put a lot of energy into it. And you have 10 exercises in there that are in the form of meditations. You have the chapters, the really, really awesome chapters. And I just want you to allow yourself to navigate conflict in a healthy way and keep having courageous conversations for yourself, with yourself, and with others. Blessings. Mwah. Love you. See you soon.